Did you?
I did, I was, yes, in the middle of trying to like catch up with the guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Because customs.
Yes.
Trying to get the customs and everything.
All right, it is 7 on the dot.
Sit while you get home, or you got want to, Doug?
Oh, yeah. All right, we'll call this meeting to order. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alright. Did everybody have a chance to go over the meeting minutes, from September 8th?
Yes.
Is everybody, anybody have any corrections? Do I have a motion to approve, the board minutes from September 8th?
I will make a motion to approve the board meeting minutes from September 8th.
Alright, Sarah has a first, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Alright, Marlene seconds, do I have any public comment? Board comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Alright, motion carried. Did everybody have a chance to go through the warrants from 10:13?
Yes.
Any questions?
I just had one question, but I can ask Darcy later since she's not here.
Thank you.
Tom appreciates that. Alright, do I have a motion, to approve the warrants from 10:13?
I will make a motion to approve the warrants from 10:13.
Alright, Sarah has a first, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Billy seconds. Alright, any public comment? Board comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right, motion carried. Alright, no public comments for the board. Let me put that in Darcy's stash. Alright, any communications?
Yeah, you guys got a couple things in there. One is a letter of support I drafted, regarding the support for emergency operations center in Lincoln. And I believe his name is Zach, requested it. Actually spoke with Brenna first, and, just because it was a little more time sensitive than the next board, we certainly, in the future, I could have drafted something that, could have been a board one, but on behalf of you guys, I just wanted to let you know that I thought that was a good thing to support. They were getting, from a few folks. Next month, we'll be posting tomorrow, ironically, for our, annual contract to have, everything plowed, and stuff, so that's always, we put it out and we approve it. It's been approved at November. And the final one was a letter that I got and both Brenna got, and I threw it in there. Just so you guys know what's going on is, as things change, laws change, and so this one was just making sure we were following the law to appropriate bathroom uses and gender, and things like that, so but if you're slow to do that, there are folks out there. Pay attention to that sort of thing, so. That's all I have. And Darcy apologizes, she had to deal with a family matter.
Perfect, thank you. Alright. Student representative report?
It's still kind of the beginning of the year, so I don't have much to report. We have homecoming coming up this weekend. This week we started our Spirit Week. We had Pajama Day today, which a lot of kids dressed up for, and I think they were very excited for it. And then we have a pep rally tomorrow, and we have a bunch of fun activities planned for that. And then we have senior night coming up for girls volleyball, not this weekend, but next. So right now we're kind of just in the works of making sure everything's ready for homecoming and volleyball, and kind kind of still getting on our toes and getting everybody situated. And we started our school store up again, and that's been a good hit too. So,
What time's the pep rally tomorrow?
3, I believe.
All right, any questions? All right, thank you. Staff representative report?
All right, so Brooklyn is actually going to do our presentation for the glacier.
Yes.
So we'll just turn on the smart board.
So I'm here to present our glacier trip that we just went on a few weekends ago for our juniors and seniors. It was a 2-night stay. There was a lot of fun memories made and a great time for everyone, I believe. We had so much fun. To start it off, we camped our first night, and we went up to Lake McDonald. All of the juniors and seniors walked over there from the campsite, and we watched the sunset, and we saw a bunch of great views this day. This one wasn't our big hiking day, but as we were driving along, we did a lot of stops and just saw all the views, the trees, everything, and honestly, after that long bus ride, we were okay with that. There was so many beautiful views. We did do one small hike on the first day up to Hidden Lake, and I think that one was a very good hike to start off because we saw mountain goats, we saw bighorn sheep, and there was just so many incredible things to see, and it was pretty awesome. Our day 2 was our biggest hike day. I'm not a big hiker, but it was actually so much fun. My favorite one was our Avalanche Lake hike. It was so beautiful. Everyone had a great time. We also hiked the Virginia Falls. This hike, we started off by saying we were gonna do one of the smaller hikes to the littler falls, and then we ended up hiking to the second falls, and then we were like, let's just keep going. So we ended up hiking all the way up the falls, and it was amazing. I think you saw in the very beginning of the slides, Elijah jumped into the falls, Marley jumped into the falls, and I mean, it was awesome. There was so much like beautiful things to see. We saw a bear in the water swimming. It was awesome. So that was our second day, and then we stayed in a little Airbnb. Some of the boys camped out, and we ran down to the lake that was down there, and we went night swimming. It was cold and mossy. I mean, it was fun in the moment until it was all in your hair and like it was dirty. But we ended up making a fire and made s'mores, and everybody hung around until the boys went back to their campsite, and it was really fun. It was a great way to end the night, I think. And then on our third night, it was our last day. This was one of my favorite days because we started off by going to the Canadian border. And that doesn't sound like much, but it is if you've never even left the country whatsoever. Like, it was fun. And then we went over to the Plains Indian Museum in Browning, and it was really cool. This was one of our speakers, and he had so many good stories to tell us. They were hilarious, actually. They were really cool. A bunch of stuff about like their tribes and the way that they do things. It was really cool to listen to. And then we walked around the museum, and they had a movie for us playing, and it was really fun. And then we kind of just drove around the rest of the time and looked at more scenery and took a lot of great pit stops. I want to thank you all for your support and letting us go. It was a great time, and I cannot wait for classes down the road to be able to do something like this, because it was a one-in-a-lifetime experience, and I believe. So thank you. That's all.
Do you have any questions for us?
Oh, I should have asked that.
Looked amazing.
Yeah, it was
Perfect.
really good.
Any questions? No? Perfect. PTSO report?
Not me, don't look at me. Stevie's right there, I see her.
Oh. I missed the meeting, it's Alyssa today.
Oh, it's Alyssa.
So we, a lot of our meeting was spent planning for the Halloween carnival, and we will still have it on Halloween, the 31st, even though it'll be on a Friday. We've talked to Travis, who has a senior class to do the haunted house, and we just did a lot of planning. And we also planned for, the parent-teacher conferences and, providing, dinner for the teachers and staff.
What time do they plan on starting the carnival?
They'll be 5 to 7, the same. Yep, and we'll get those flyers out to students probably next Monday or Tuesday, and then other flyers will go out.
When's districts?
The 30th, we leave that Wednesday, I believe, so us all don't have
Any seniors for?
I know that some of the juniors in them said that they would step up, like last year when Crimson and them weren't there, we had some juniors step up to help and put it on for them.
And they will have, and I talked to Mr. Peterson also just about flexibility with their practices and scheduling, and so they'll actually can start Thursday evening, but then they also have all day Friday to work on it.
I think they leave Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
I can think of.
Thank you. Maybe report?
I think since last Thursday by default, that would be me. So I just have one thing to bring up. Today I participated in a Zoom meeting with MHSA and a parent and a student who's on homeschool. And so this was a situation by MHS rules, they were not eligible to participate in the first semester of sports. And they had participated in our sports program during last fall and winter's season of sports, but they didn't participate in spring. So at that point, we stopped having contact with them. So the next contact we had was in March, and based upon the transcripts from the spring semester, they weren't eligible by MHSA rules, nor ours. Well, ours are theirs. So, and you know, that was unfortunate, and so since they're not a student of ours, if they are eligible academically and they reside within our district, they can play on our sports teams. So it's kind of an odd dynamic, and but the parent went through the appeals process, and that happened today, and he's been granted his eligibility for the remaining of the semester. So immediately today, he's eligible to play football, and then he'll be also eligible to start the basketball season for the remainder of this semester, and then hopefully academically is eligible to continue on next semester. So that was really interesting. Good for them for sticking with it, and the student's been working very hard to be a part of the program as he's kind of navigating that. So he heads up there. So
Do you have?
yeah, the only thing Darcy asked me to bring up here, and Julie, you can help me out here because it's an email that you participated in, and it was as far as our accounts accrue interest, and we can actually take that and put that into a deposit account. So I think next month we'll either pass an MOU by the board or stuff just directing us that is okay and stuff. So I just found out about that today. So we have our accounts in CDs, and the interest we get, we can actually put that back into the account instead of just staying in there and constantly accruing that.
It doesn't already go back in?
I want it was put on the system.
Really? Oh, cause it used to. So this new one just,
So thank you for pointing that out. So we'll bring that back to you guys.
okay. Sure. All right, superintendent report?
You know, big thing is, and we'll be talking about Shane, you know, obviously he's, you know, left a big boy here. And so we're trying to fill the gap and stuff. So a wealth of knowledge, and he's been a great person for me to learn about a lot of the way things, especially on athletics, have been handled in Montana. We're learning some things with MTDA and just working with the kids, because I think it's really neat. We have a bunch of students taking RIT 101, so that if they go on to college in Montana, they won't have to take a freshman level writing course. But most of these students are also in our athletic program and trying to, we've dodged a couple bullets with it, but I think we've also learned a lot, because whenever we in the week decide, okay, we're going to do our grade check, at that point you have to be eligible. And so it's really, I really enjoy sitting down with the students, because like one of the classes, they're given a 6-day grace period, so there's a due date. But if they teach, this is the way the instructor does it, and so I think it's good, because everyone does things a little differently. They have 6 days to turn it in, and they can still get full credit. But the problem is, on that day, it goes in the grade book, if it's not turned in, as a 0. And so if during that window, our grade check is done, and it wasn't turned in, even though they get, full credit, they could be caught based upon their percentage is below 65% there. So we've ducked it a few times and had some really good discussions, and I think it's good to then communicate that moving forward. And because, like with the glacier trip, a bunch of them, it was a big assignment. They chose not to turn it in on time, go on the glacier, and they turned it afterwards. What the problem was is grade check happened. And so that was a big assignment that temporarily, it doesn't really, I think it always matters, but it's really that grade at the end of the semester that's going to go on your final transcript. We're just learning a lot on, you don't turn things in late, or make sure you have enough points banked so you can handle that tip along the way. So that's been kind of interesting. I'd really like to recognize our transportation department, Doug and Lori, and thank them, because they heard something and they came directly to the source, and we had a nice chat. But the game telephone, where if you say something, it travels around. And so once it got to them, we were buying a 15-passenger van like Drummond. And so I was able to clearly say, no, I never said a 15-passenger van. What I did say, because we had a PIR day, and I think it's always great when you can spend some time and you don't dive into the details or the weeds of school finances, but you talk about the broad strokes. So we were looking at, in that room of 21 of us, there were salaries, over $1.5 million. Well, if our budget's 2.8, that comes off. So, if we have a retirement of an older staff member and we bring in somebody new, there's a cost savings for a while. And so we threw some scenarios out there, and like, okay, maybe our entry level teacher salary is $41,000, but you got to throw in your benefits and everything, your retirement thing. So it's really in the mid-50s when everything's said and done. So you kind of look at those things. So we were going down, and we got on like what transportation costs and for it. And so we were talking about different scenarios, and I did say, one thing that's important to me is, like, when we're traveling and we're scheduling games and stuff, that we try to, the boys don't play one place one night, and the girls place, we try to take as many trips out of the community. We try to consolidate that as much as possible, and there can be cost savings. That's true, but it didn't mean that we were going to buy a 15-passenger van, which apparently is now legal for us mere mortals without a CDL, can drive. It used to be, different state, but it was an 8-passenger van. Anything beyond that, schools for the longest time were buying 9-passenger vans, removing a seat and calling it an 8-passenger, saying we're good, and insurance companies frowned upon that, because I think it meant something other than that seat in there while there. So I did appreciate them, because, you know, part of our contract with them is, a big part of that is our extracurricular trip. And so thank you guys for coming and clarifying some things, and I'm glad they didn't stew on that for too long. So no, those 15 passenger vans was not part of the conversation, but upgrading what we currently have and having some flexibility wouldn't be a bad discussion, you know, to have. Some places that I'm familiar with will schedule like a boys game at home and a girls game away, and well, that kind of stinks if you have a kid on both teams and it splits your crowd. And the hugest thing at the end of the day is if we have multiple trips going out where we could have had one, it's a much greater disruption of the school day, you know, if kids are leaving time. So a lot of times I would rather move one larger group than once during the week than two smaller ones, because we're pulling the kids out of the same classes and stuff. So thank you guys for coming in and clarifying that. Speaking of the telephone game, it gets better. So probably the biggest crisis I've dealt with in a while is the fourth grade thought they were going to the homecoming dance. And they were serious. And I think the Montana had reservations being made, and there was dates being, no, I'm serious, there were dates being made. Oh yeah, see, I'm not joking about it. So that was one thing in which Michaela, fifth grade, finally admitted, I think I'm to blame on that one, Tom. And she said, because it's in our announcements and they're talking, and she's talking to the kids about homecoming week, and it ends in a dance and stuff. So she goes, hey, it'd be kind of fun to have like a 4th through 6th grade dance, you know, maybe in the spring, and like something you can earn and stuff like that. Well, somehow that got turned into the 4th grade thinking that we're going to the one coming up, and I'm going. And so when I went in to talk to them, I guess be the bad guy, and they were like, no, we get to go. And they go, well, why does kindergarten get to go to prom? And I go, what? And they go, yeah, kindergarten gets to go to prom. And I go, what are you talking? So I go to Curtis, you know, so this is a good part of my day. And Curtis, what's this about? And he goes, oh no. So apparently it's a cute little tradition, and so I'm getting used to traditions here, that kindergartners do a brief run through prom, and then they brief keywords. So when the 4th grade goes, well, kindergarten gets to go to prom, why can't we go to homecoming? I thought they had a pretty valid, you know. So then I go, Curtis, please don't tell me you do kindergarten graduation. He goes, oh yeah, we do. Okay, so yeah, crisis averted, but they were a little disappointed. And yes, homecoming week, thank you to all the efforts of our student body, and if you can make tomorrow's rally at 3 o'clock, I would highly recommend it. So that's my report.
Thank you. Any questions on that? All right, so athlete of the year selection criteria.
So we went over a few things last time, had discussion on a couple things. You guys asked like some sort of scoring matrix rubric brought up. So I did a couple queries, and so I didn't make up the categories. I did break it. I found one I kind of liked, and so we could do that. So I threw that there if you guys would like to discuss that. And the only thing I would say, and I probably didn't say this much last time, is I've kind of gone back and forth, for you guys call it at the end of the day, is I've kind of run some kind of scenarios through this, like, you know, how these kids would travel through this and things like that. But would you maybe want to consider splitting the MVP and sportsmanship to each its own category, so there was a point for each? So it would read MVP 1 point, sportsmanship 1 point. I kind of combined them because, you know, I had heard like, hey, this needs to be athletics and stuff. Number one, it would give our local coach a little bit more control before it, you know, because the all-conference and all-state out with our team sports is more than voting done by others. Obviously, in the running events, that's purely on based upon the kids' performance. And two, you might be, with MVP and sportsmanship, you truly might be talking about two different very deserving kids. You know, like clearly the MVP as far as the athletic, you know, performance and statistics, but truly we have one who really stands out as far as the sportsmanship. Could be the same, a lot of times it might be the same kid, but, so that was the only thing I wanted to, you know, throw at you guys is, I've just personally kind of gone back and forth of the pros and cons.
I like the idea.
I would be in favor of splitting it.
I would also.
Okay, so last time this was just agendized as a discussion, this is a discussion approval. You could certainly approve it. And then like next month, I would just, as an information item, show you the final copy. So if we could go forward with it approved, you know, we don't have to wait another month for me to fix that, if you guys want to consider it.
What would you do with the back?
As far as the scoring,
Yeah,
I would just separate those off.
okay,
So athletic performance would be a standalone and sportsmanship would
Okay.
be a standalone. So I'd have two totals. I'd have a total of it.
no,
So
I
yeah,
like it.
I'd have to modify that too.
I think that's a good idea.
We talked earlier about scenarios for athletes that might be injured. Did we really come up with any specific criteria for that?
It just says,
Oh, and the
if a
second,
student is injured and cannot participate in a season of sport, however, they are a member of a team throughout that season, they will still maintain eligibility for the Athlete of the Year award.
right, so Marlene, we had talked about like, should it happen during a certain point after so many contests and things like that. Currently, the way it reads is, you know, I believe, you know, second day of practice, the kid could be injured and, but still show up to practice every day, go to every, you know, so they're part of the program. They wouldn't lose eligibility at that point, the way that reads.
Okay.
So injury at any point. Yeah, you guys could throw in like at a certain point or.
I think the longer that they're out, the less likely the chances of them getting all conference or all state. So that's already gonna kind of take them down on points, depending on the injury. So we wanna put, I would just say reword a little bit of the sentence.
I personally kind of think that they have to meet criteria, even though they're injured. They still need to show up for practices. They still need to be going to games. Still show sportsmanship, leadership skills. You know, just, I think those need to be met for them to maintain qualification.
So, yeah, just personally, my son broke his clavicle at the end of the first football game, the sophomore year. So he missed the rest of football. I did take him on a week hunting trip because he was not playing. But as we got it signed off that he did not lose his eligibility, because like he made it back from the next football game to stand on the sideline and, you know, be the water boy.
Be
But,
there for the team though.
but yeah, they let him miss some practices, so that was kind of a coach's discretion kind of thing.
Okay.
So what about adding after completing their first 10 practices? Just something, so there's, I mean, if they just show up at the practices but never get to participate, they're sitting on the sidelines, but they're always there because they were injured before the season even started, let's say.
Yeah, we could, 50% of the games are completed, regular season. Yeah, you can put a point in there at any time.
So do we wanna put something in there about completing at least 50% of the season's games, or? Coaches, thoughts on that?
Well, if you get hurt, like, say the 7th day, and you have to have 8 practices required, and it's a season-ending injury, and a doctor slip says that you can't participate in practice, in all honesty, you're just there. But, yeah, you're a part of the team, but you're never participating, you know, unless you say you have to letter. And what's that, you have to be on the, you have to suit up for a tournament game, or play so many regular season games, I think. But I think it's suiting up for tournament. You gotta be on the tournament roster to letter. I mean, cause then you could have injuries throughout the season, but as long as you're lettering, you know. You could, I guess it could go a lot of different ways.
So would your suggestion be,
But like you guys said earlier, the more games an athlete misses, the less likely he's gonna
right,
check all those boxes, or she's gonna check all those boxes, so. But how do you put it if, say, they're 7 days into practice season ending injury? It sucks, but they're really never part of the team. Yeah, they could be a manager, but yeah, something like that, but they never, you know, cause you still have to have 8 to practice, and if you can't get medically cleared for that other practice.
So.
Well, and it's also true that there are gonna be, you know, other people who can,
Right.
who would qualify as well.
So we could reword it, if a student is injured and cannot participate in a season of sport, however they are a member of the team, okay? The student is injured and cannot participate, however, they meet Lincoln High School's criteria to letter, like Shana just said, they will maintain their eligibility for athlete of the year.
Letter in every sport?
No, just that's,
Oh, just that sport,
Yeah.
okay.
so like one of the, okay, or you can just reword it that way, to be eligible, you have to letter in each season of sport.
I just wanna make sure, so say you have a kid who is an amazing football player, made all conference, all state, cool. Amazing basketball player, made all conference, all state, awesome. Gets hurt in track, then you're invalidating their whole year. And is that fair? I mean, they would still, if they bulb all year long and then got hurt in track, is it fair to invalidate their whole year of play?
Right.
And make them
Get in
ineligible?
their 2 weeks of practice, then they've
Yeah, that,
qualified to participate in that sport.
As long
and
as
what
we're doing it
happens-
like through their first part of practice. I just would hate second track meet, you hurt yourself and then your whole year is,
Yeah, but
Wiped
depending
out.
on the point system, if that happens, someone's probably gonna jump that person, if it's a close race, I mean.
right, but I'm just saying like,
Unfortunately,
why would we
well,
not give them
We-
the opportunity
we-
to
we-
be in that running?
and I think it would happen, not necessarily frequently, but you will have a kid, female or male, who is fairly dominant in the fall and winter sports, seasonal sports. So mathematically, they've already wrapped it up, as long as, you know, they behave themselves and stay academics. And then before track season starts, mathematically by these points, that could happen for the athlete of the year.
That's what I'm saying, I just don't wanna make them ineligible for athlete of the year due to an injury if it happens
Right.
at the
So they
end.
would have won it anyway, but they get injured at the beginning of the track, and so they get 0. They're now not eligible, but they would have won it and, you know, I don't.
I just, do we need to make them ineligible for the whole year if they get hurt? the points will work it out themselves, however it lays, I just,
To me, the only determining thing is you have to have those 2 weeks of practices in to
yeah, and
participate in that
I'm
sport.
okay with that. I just, like I said, I didn't want it to be you had to letter, which means make it to the end, or you had to do 50%. I just, as long as you've made it through your initial 8 practices, 10, whatever, I think that is, for me, that would be sufficient.
What's the requirement for lettering in track? Is it what, just percentage
I'm
of the track meets you go to?
not sure. Yeah.
I don't know, and I thought the criteria for athletic year was lettering in all 3 sports to begin with.
I did too, I was under that, so.
But I don't know what qualifies as lettering, if I'm being completely
I
honest.
think it's, you have to play in so many games, you know, and or be a part of the tournament, you know, like the tournament team, not roster.
So we need to find out what lettering is.
But like, just like my freshman year of high school, we didn't have a football team, we played 1 game the whole year. But like Sam Brady was still eligible to win athlete of the year, even though he played 1 JV game, like that sort of thing, so. I don't know, I feel like if they're injured at any point, they should still be qualified to, and if they don't reach the points, then they don't reach the points. If it's the first day of practice versus the 47th. If they're, like Merlene said, a part of the team, and like Shane said, they wouldn't really be part of the team, but they would be to capacity for sure.
I did some research, just several different places, and they would base it kind of on a quarter point system, where for a quarter point, they still attended practices. For a quarter point, they still attended games. For a quarter point, they still showed amazing sportsmanship, leadership type skills. For a quarter point, I can't remember the last one, but that would make up the point that they would miss if it was just taken away from them because of an injury. I mean, they would still have to do what the remaining people on the team does, other than exacerbate that injury. There's lots of other things, you know, that makes an athlete. So that's kind of what I was looking at, to see what kind of criteria could they do to make up that point. Yeah, they're not gonna play, and they're not gonna be able to participate physically, but they are there to cheer their team on every single game. And though they can't practice, they are there to encourage those who are. Good job. I like how you did that. Way to go. It goes a long ways. That's just what I was thinking in terms of how to make up that point.
Well, and in here, it's, probably not gonna get any points, but they wouldn't lose eligibility.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
you know, so I think, cause, cause this is a fairly simplistic point system. Because,
It'll just simply keep them,
yeah,
eligible for-
what do we do for injuries where they, and, you know, if their presence and their participation, as much as appropriate, they wouldn't lose the eligibility. That was just the issue.
So just keep it as worded.
I think dividing the MVP sportsman points is a good idea.
Yeah.
And then
So just add
and
that.
reflecting that in the scoring system.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And then, like you said, the coach has a little more to work with as far as voting. I mean, we have no control over all conference or all state, that's done outside of, you know, so that's,
Yeah, we don't even get to pick
Yeah.
the players, just recommend them.
so.
change that sentence to, if a student is injured and cannot participate in the full season of a sport, however, they are a member of a team throughout that season, they will still maintain eligibility for the Athlete of the Year award.
Yeah, and I just reread that too, and I like how you said full, because, it allows you at any point to be injured.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm good with it with those changes. Any other changes that you guys can think of?
So before you make a motion, can I go over those?
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna add the word full. If a student is injured and cannot participate in the word full will go in there, season of sport. Okay, so that is one change. The word full will be added in that sentence. And then the MVP sportsmanship will be separated out, each will be worth a point. And the scoring rubric will reflect that change as being separated out. So,
Perfect.
okay.
I like it. Okay. Do we have a motion with the changes, to move forward with the new Athlete of the Year criteria?
I'll make a motion.
Billy has a first, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Julie has a second, do we have any public comment?
Is this to enact for this school year or for next school year?
This school year.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I didn't know
Yep.
if this was gonna pass or not.
Yeah, so, great point by Peyton, and just, you guys know, first day practice, we went over that with football and volleyball players and cross country. And so, from what I could tell, nothing that we were proposing would change. I'm glad we're hopefully approving this, prior to the culmination of the season. But, do their best, have great attitudes. Everything I had heard, I didn't believe, and I don't think it does change the thing as far as how they would approach what they need to do.
Any other public comment? Public comment? All in favor, say aye.
I,
All right, motion carried. Thanks for working on that, Tom. All right, revision to co-curricular activity agreement.
I mentioned this last meeting, and so just doing some updates, so that it would give us more flexibility when the advisor deemed it appropriate. So first of all, just a little cleanup, we'd be striking media communications and replacing that with Business Professionals of America, so that would be added there if you approve it. And then the only other thing change is adding the sentence there that's highlighted. Does it come?
Yep.
Okay, at the discretion of the advisor and mutually agreed upon by the school administration, students below grade 7 may be permitted to participate under special and limited circumstances. There are numbers, okay, they're just trying to gain interest in it. Whatever the activity might be is age appropriate and things, so it gives us the ability to say, no, this is not appropriate, but does give us, currently our policy would not let them do some of the functions that a couple of advisors have pointed out might be advantageous for us to let them do.
Any questions? Is there a hard stop on what grade level would be?
I think that's where I'll be leaning heavily on appropriate and the advisor.
gotta stop at 4.
Yeah, okay, that's right. That's right.
But
And
they
I'm
give
gonna
us
have
a
to-
vote
Give
night,
us something else to
so.
be mad about.
I'm gonna have to throw him a bone someplace.
Okay, well, I guess it leaves it open just in case, so. All right, do I have a motion to make, or to approve the revision to the co-curricular activity agreement to include, the sentence below 7th grade may be permitted?
I will make the motion to approve the co-curricular agreement with the additional sentence and replacing media communications with Business Professionals of America.
All right, Sarah has a first, do I have a second?
I second it.
Marlene has a second. Any more public comment? Board comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right, motion carried. Right, resignation of Shane Brown. That letter is in there after the co-curricular, where we had a chance to look over it, so we just need to approve, his resignation letter. Do I have a motion to approve?
I will make a motion to approve Shane Brown's resignation.
All right, do we have a first, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Sarah seconds, do I have any public comment? Board comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right, motion carried. All right, removal of Shane Brown from the district, signature authority at Citizens Bank. Just removing him from the signature, or from the activity cabinet.
Yes.
Okay, do I have a motion, to approve removal of Shane Brown from the activity cabinet at Citizens Bank?
I make a motion to approve removal of Shane Brown, District Signature Authority at Citizens Bank.
I'm gonna add Alliance in there, just so. All right, Marlene has a first, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Julie has a second. Do I have any public comment? Board comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Alright, motion carried. Alright, Peyton Peterson as high school football coach. Did you wanna discuss?
With obviously Shane going, we do not have a football coach at the moment, and so my recommendation is, since we only are down to a couple weeks left, that we appoint his assistant to finish off the season.
Do I have a motion for Peyton Peterson to step in as the head coach for the football team for the remainder of the 25 season?
I'll make a motion for Peyton to be the coach for the remainder of the season.
Alright, we got a first from Billy. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Julie has a second. Do I have any public comment?
Why did she think we only have a couple weeks left?
Well, okay, a few, I should say.
Months, he meant.
A few.
Any other public comment? That's not being a smart. Alright, board comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Alright, motion carried. Alright, same thing goes with Derek.
Yeah, with Peyton moving up, we have a void. He's requested that he get some assistance. I recommend that we fill that, give him that assistance.
Alright, do I have a motion, to approve Derek as the assistant high school football coach for the remainder of the 2025 season?
I'll make a motion to appoint Derek as the assistant coach for the remainder of the season.
Alright, Billy has a first. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Marlene seconds. Do I have any public comment? Board comment?
Is that one that we posted?
What's that?
Did we post that opening?
The appointment?
Yeah.
No.
No, did we post that it was open for other people to apply?
No, since
Okay.
we discussed and felt that just since there were just a few weeks left in the season, that it was appropriate to appoint at this point.
Derek was volunteering to help.
Yeah.
He was, yeah, so. That made no sense.
That's a great. Could have. I think with such a limited time left, it was appropriate to appoint.
Alright. Intern athletic director. What year was that?
We didn't finish voting.
Oh, did you make your, all in favor say aye?
Aye.
Can we go to bed now? Did everybody say aye?
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. Okay, now let's move forward. Alright, the 80 position, do you want to?
Yeah, at the table there, we're bringing forth, we interviewed today, so we're bringing forth a recommendation to hire Claire Peterson for the remainder of the school year as the interim athletic director.
Alright, do I have a motion to accept, the recommendation for the interim athletic director of Claire Peterson?
I'll make a motion to accept Claire.
Alright, we got a first from Julie, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Julie seconds. Public comment?
How many applicants were there?
One. Any other public comment? Board comment?
Sorry.
I was waiting for you.
I know. I just want to make sure going forward that we have a very clear set process when it comes to AD and then any coaches that have a relationship, whether it's brother, sister, mom, dad, married, just to make sure that there is a chain of command or a way to solve things that could be interpreted as trying to pick the correct
I know
word.
it, yeah.
I just wanna make sure everything's
Yeah,
handled
absolutely.
openly, honestly.
So.
Not that I think there's gonna be a problem at all whatsoever.
So, like Claire cannot, if you approve her, would not be able to evaluate Peyton as the football coach. That would be a no-no. So that, you see small schools all the time and, like my wife's a high school English teacher, okay? I would not be able to evaluate
Right.
that person. So, in like our case, Joseph, we're president, you know, and stuff. So yes, absolutely, anytime we get in that situation, it's no different than one of you guys having to recuse yourself on like a voting matter, so that there's always that separation.
And then you will take on that role, so you would do Peyton's evaluation?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, if this went forward, it would be, of course, there's daily communication as far as, hey, do we have enough, you know, we're working on our chain gang or something, some of those communications. But yeah, as far as anything that would ever be a sticking point, that has to be, we have to have a separation.
Like I said, I don't think that would be a problem, I just wanted
No, that's always, thank you, that's always
to bring
good,
clarification.
good.
Okay.
Any other board comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right, motion carried. All right, high school basketball, boys head coach, recommendation?
Yeah, so we're bringing for Kate Peterson, to be the high school boys basketball coach.
All right, do I have a motion to accept the recommendation for Peyton Peterson for the boys head basketball coach?
I'll make a motion for Peyton Peterson to be boys basketball coach.
All right, got a first from Billy, do I have a second?
I second.
Ryan seconds. Public comment?
How many applicants were there?
We have two.
And, maybe I don't remember correctly, but is Peyton already the assistant? Was he already hired as the assistant? How does that work?
Yeah, so he,
Does he have to resign?
if he's voted in, that would leave us a void with the assistant. We would immediately fly that tomorrow.
Any other public comment? Board comment?
We did do interviews, did I hear that was
Yeah.
today? Oh, I didn't.
Mhm.
Okay.
Any other board comment?
Why are we gonna meet with her?
I'm looking, well, just making sure you don't have any questions. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. All right, athletic volunteers, Tegan Riggle and Logan Lewis. Do you have anything to say about that? You just want me to go?
Is it okay to continue bringing this forward? I kind of like to acknowledge, when a coach has somebody that they would like to come assist. You know, we allow them to come assist. If they haven't been fingerprinted with us, at no times can they be along with students. But it is a good way to get some assistance out. And the coaches take that responsibility when they request it.
And they can do it for football, basketball.
When I
Track, or
put
is there-
athletic volunteers, because I believe at least one of those might want to continue on in the basketball.
Okay. And that's with the approval of you and the,
Yeah, I
Coaches.
won't bring a person's name forward unless they have a coach endorse them.
any other questions? That one? Is it discussed first?
Yeah, I feel like the problem child tonight. Do we have any guidelines on behaviors or examples or anything? Or do they just come help out and then,
Well, we did have that volunteer thing that I brought last month that we're gonna start to adhere to more. But it's also like, recently, it's been really nice that we had somebody announcing during football games. But I'll be sitting down with folks who have volunteered to do that and go over some guidelines to maybe clean some stuff up and because it's fun and it's great and it's great to have and it creates a good environment, but they're like, I've not looked on MHSA, but like when I've volunteered to do it in Idaho, I just went straight to the Idaho, equivalent of MHSA. And they have great, PAA announcement guidelines, and so do's and don'ts and stuff like that. So, yes, that is our athletic department's responsibility and also the head coach that is choosing to sponsor because that person's behavior is on them. On how, the appropriateness that we expect. To say we have a hardcore guideline for every city.
Right,
Not
no.
always.
I couldn't remember what
Important.
that volunteer sheet said.
That's an important point.
All right. Any other discussion? All right, do I have a motion to approve Tegan Riddle and Logan Joyce for athletic volunteers?
Make a motion to approve Tegan Riddle and Logan Joyce for volunteers.
Julie has the first, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconds, do we have public comment? Or comment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right, motion carried. All right,
Did you read the next one?
yeah, sign removal and placement of new sign donated by the PTSO.
Yes, so, these didn't exist when I taught, so, it's, anyway, PTSO who's here, so thank you for being here, but if it connects, I will, I'll show you the example. Anyway, I really appreciate, Annette came and spoke with me, and we have that sign that's on the back side of our scoreboard. It says, I think it says, "Say no to drugs," and it's quite deteriorated. And when I was doing initial walk arounds the campus, Derek and I were talking, I just go, it's time. I think we get that down and at least repaint it or things like that. So the PTSO has requested its removal, and and then that we have a professional sign made and put it up there. Here's an example. I go, great. I was doing the agenda. Let's involve you guys in that. And so a couple things to think about is one, we have a deteriorating sign. We can look better than that. And then two is say no to drugs. The very first thing you want to read as you enter I think is an important message, don't get me wrong, but should it be something more toward school pride or something like that. So Annette, you want to pipe up, because I'm just reiterating what she said, but anyway, a professionally done sign that would go there. And if you guys gave us PTSO working in conjunction with like our BLT, our leadership team, to get a sign rolling, that'd be great.
So what do you think? That old sign says, "Say yes to life, no to drugs." It's just peeling and nasty and it's too small anyway. And the sign that we can get from Helena, it's about $800 some, but it's a plastic aluminum composite. It should last from between 8 to 10 years. And something like that, does not mention Johnson County.
I like it.
Yeah. Laura felt like her graphic design kids could come up with something similar to that. So, what do you think?
I like it. I think it's a good idea.
I love it. I think it would be cool if they came up with like 3 designs and let the school vote. And let all the kids vote on it.
Okay.
Personally.
School pride.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the idea of the kids doing the design too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it's kind of cool, the kids will come up with a rough design and then a professional graphic design person will actually, kind of.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what.
So we have the go-ahead. Okay.
Now we just gotta do approval. Do I have a motion to approve the sign removal and placement of the new sign donated by the PTSO?
I'll make a motion.
Billy has the first, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Sarah was the second, do I have any public comment?
Just want to thank Annette for taking the time to give that
Yes,
information
thank
and
you.
to present it to us at PTSO.
It's been bugging me for so many years.
Ah.
We live out in that direction.
We like it.
Yeah, it's a
You
good.
know, I helped Denny Creech hang that sign when I was in high
Which
school.
You can have it right now.
Oh, that's not
I have
dangerous.
the agency now. Don't do that.
Would you like to help hang this next one?
Maybe.
All right, any more comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried, thank you. All right, next one I will hand over to Tom. Agreement with the Blackfoot Catholic.
Okay, at the back of your packet, you will see the current agreement that our district has with Blackfoot Catholic Sculpture and Wild. And that expires this February. So I think starting last spring, when I was occasionally coming in town and primarily just meeting with Kathy, she had mentioned something about property in that direction. And anyway, I kind of went over my head and stuff. And so, and a lot of different terms were used with different discussions. And so then she was in, we were going over, she showed me where some things were like, first couple weeks of school and stuff, because of course I'd forgotten by that point, needed to find things. And so she goes, hey, here's this binder, and the lease expires this year, so you're gonna wanna, pay attention to that. So, it's not a lease, I would say, and Becky or Annette can pop in, but I'd say it's more like an MOU, it's an agreement that we have, that kind of stipulates, the parcel that we're referencing and things. So that will expire, and we'll need to, in February, we're going to need to review that. And so then, at that point, of course, I then like, what, and it's,
A rabbit hole.
well, there's a lot, it's pretty phenomenal, and so, I went and I've toured a few times now, and sculptures are awesome. It's really neat, kind of the history of how that was developed there, and but then also, the school's easement. So it's and we're still learning things just as we go. So the bottom line is we're going to need, what we're talking about, so everybody kind of gets a visual. Why is it not?
Just click on your box up on the top left.
Where your
See your home
screen, where your
Yeah,
screen
just
is
click
showing.
on that.
Okay, so here's our school, right there, and then we're talking about this parcel here. And if I have the binder look out, we commonly will say 26 acres. then you'll read another one that'll say it's closer to 28, and then what's in our current document, it says 24.9. So the most common number I see is 26, but anyway, so the school, and please, because a lot of information here, and I'm just taking what I've learned, so anything I don't get correctly, so the school, from what I understand, and I asked Darcy, we're looking for the specific language that was actually put on the ballot that went out in, I believe, 98 or 99. So we asked the community to pass a levy for, an amount of money to purchase the easement from the state. And so that cost $78,000, almost $79,000. So we purchased it with the and in that easement into perpetuity, it says to build a school building, and so the enrollment numbers were a little different than they are now. So almost exactly twice. And so that would be interesting to be here at that time. I'm sure some of you were, but anyway, we had fuller classrooms than we do now. So, and I learning more about the history of Lincoln and why it's went on a fairly steady decline and brought us back into the kind of 140 range. I'm not saying nothing was done with the property as far as school was concerned at that point. I believe we did set up a golf course, but I'm going to start calling it the disc golf course. But then the school was approached to start creating the sculpture in the wild, and so 2013, 2014, that. So anyway, we've renewed this agreement several times. It's been on a 5-year renewal cycle, as has the sculpture Blackfoot Pathways license with the state, which also states in it that the school has the right to build a school there and stuff like that. So I'm just looking for some direction on moving forward, and this is the agreement that I haven't necessarily looked at the 2014 and read word for word to see if there's the only changes has been the term, but the dates on it, but what we want to consider moving forward.
Did you have that?
Oh, yeah, so this is as much as I've found, but this is, the parcel's right here. And so the intent was to actually move the high school over there, I guess. And, we have parking and a football field and, the actual high school building was here. So that's what we're looking at there. So I have a few drawings that are the same one of this, but this was nice. And you can see it's fairly old. So yeah, there was, I don't see anything past this. So I think this is I think a fairly basic architectural makeup of like, okay, here's something that like we don't have, you're spending tens of thousands of dollars to actually get the plans drawn up in detail. So that's an architect's rendering of some of the ideas. So anyway, with that, thank you. I met with Annette and Becky and their new executive director, and learned a lot. Sent me down a few different angles. I got to tour the property with Kristen Baker, who's the probably call her the wrong thing, but she oversees this unit. And the good thing for us, because I was also on the phone with Liz Mullen, I believe her name is, and the nice thing is that they were part of in the same positions when the initial things went up, so that not only, they're not having to kind of look this up and stuff, so, yeah, it's great. I have been pretty open about, you know, the first thing I walked in here for an interview, I just can't not look at a school facility and start looking at, oh, that's cool, oh, probably need to work on that, you know, the sign that is deteriorating out there and stuff. But, you know, the most immediate thing is when I walked in for my interview was, how's a wheelchair getting in our front door? You know, so we do have some obvious accessibility issues, but I do know that the longer you don't go through modernization projects and upgrades, schools tend to, because we deal with precious little children, have to usually have the highest level of public, you know, need to keep our facilities safety and, you know, all sorts of things that, you know, we go in the walls and we now have to abate because it's no longer considered safe and things like that. So a lot of times you get into a project and you go, okay, we'd like to do some of those upgrades, and then like, we just tore in that wall and, you know, there's some unforeseen things. So I look at this facility and it's in need of us bringing in some experts to see what we can do in relation to bringing this current facility back to a more current standard. And, you know, we're holding classes where if we had a student, you know, enroll in our school or get injured and couldn't make it upstairs, we would have to move, you know, rearrange classrooms. And really a building needs to be, you know, accessible to everyone at all times, not just because we can rearrange things, you know, and stuff. So I am going to continue the conversation on, I think the fact that the school was directed by the community when the community gave us money to build a school, we should keep that as a consideration. But I'd also be curious to know, really, to bring back this facility. It's kind of like, it's always going to be more expensive to build new, I believe. But if we've waited too long over time to take care of our current facility, I think that cost difference starts to, you start to have some different viewpoints. So anyway, I did kind of look at things through a different lens when I knew, you know, if we had zero property outside of this, where we are right now, to potentially do something, I think I'd be merely just looking at the modernization route and what we can do currently here. But because we have another area to consider, I think I'd like to continue exploring those routes. So the most immediate thing is we need to renew our agreement, but also I think, you know, we also need to be having pretty serious discussions about what our long-term facility vision for the district is.
Was the agreement always to use the full acreage for the Blackfoot pathways?
I'm sorry.
Becky, you?
Ask it again.
I said, has the agreement always been to use the full acreage for the
It
Blackfoot?
started out with a 5 acre, and as we expanded, then it has been changed to 23-ish acres. When Billy's dad was still on the board, and I can't remember who was all on the board, there was a section, like a 3-acre section that was delineated out that we were to not put any installations in. And let's say it runs from the teepee burner to the, to right before the container, so from the teepee burner west, it runs, and it stays with kind of within that, where the service road is. And so the last land use license that we signed included that. There was some amendments, sorry. The land use license, the original one, and then there's been 2 amendments adding those acreages. With the full support of the school and full support of the GNRC.
Can I ask something, Becky?
Sure.
Was the first installation this House of Sky?
No.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know if you wanna take the time to.
Oh, no, it's,
So the first year in 2014, we had 5 installations. And, the TP burner was one of them, and it came in pieces and parts. It took us a year to put it back together. Montana line drawing, which is the very first one that you walked into. House of Sky was one of them. Gateway of Change was one, and then also Portrait. So those 5.
okay.
Came in first.
So and I agree, like the initial, footprint was 4 to 5 acres. With this House of Sky being placed where it was, kind of, and I can put up a schematic next month, but was in a sense that as the past went around, and I think it was explained to me, as the paths went around those installations, so the footprint inside that path was like the 4 to 5 acres. But like this House of Sky is quite close to the western end, so it kind of, the path goes kind of lengthwise. And so a reality here is, and it is not as ideal as like if the school was sitting on several, and I'd like to come in with, so I have like some meetings set up to start getting some, current costs on like what things will look like, having visiting teams here to look at our current facilities versus, a little bit newer for them to give us some estimates on new. But if we were looking on that, it would be very, very difficult to locate a school there with and not disrupt the sculptures. That would be a very challenging endeavor, because just a adequate parking alone could be several acres. And it looks so I think those are some, but we're not talking overnight. I mean, this is a very lengthy process. And so I'll be reaching out to Becky and their group as far as what needs to happen, as far as, as your representative, to renew this license, but also, I think we need to keep at these discussions. So I'll be just so I can get up and running, I'll be meeting with, just because they're willing to meet, because of course they like you to consider them for their future business, just some, builders and things to start getting some costs and some folks to cruise by here, just to help us to look at a couple different scenarios. And so I'm talking just a planning phase would be several years, minimum. And if you're asking me how the heck are we gonna afford this, I haven't touched that. I can't say you could walk around here and not say there's not a need to have a long-term plan. So facilities should roughly cost 15% of your overall budget. Staff usually costs about 85, and so this is like one of those 10% projects in line that I'll be working on as we go.
So in the next agreement, you're thinking shorter
I don't know. I think, you know, next month we'll come back with, some more information and just go, if anything really needs, as far as the agreement, I think it stipulates a term, it stipulates, an exit agreement, it talks about, insurance and indemnity, kind of holds harmless both parties, termination clause and stuff, so, I think with the termination clause, it would give you, I believe, an understanding that from either party, they can, walk out. So I think there, but, courtesy is, I think, yeah, we just wanna make sure we communicate
Right.
what we're thinking.
How many, if any, of these sculptures are portable?
I guess they all can be picked up and removed. It would be hard to say. I guess we'd have to think about that, I can't answer that. And tonight, I guess I was prepared because it was our October meeting, and I was prepared to come and just give you all the updates of this last year and what we're looking forward to. So I guess to move forward, I would really like to be a part, and Sculpture in the Wild would like to be a part of the discussions as we move forward. We've been good stewards of the land use lease and have done the education programs and kind of done the things that we were supposed to do, we said we would do as our MOU, as our agreement came full force. I'm just kind of a little out there this evening, because again, I wasn't quite ready to make a comment, but again, and maybe next meeting, I can give you that report, and I would really very much like you to meet Erin Ferris Olson, our executive director. But I guess I just would request that, Tom, I would really like to walk the park with you, maybe answer some questions that, I know that you have been very, very busy, and I appreciate all the thoughts and, and being so hands-on, but, I would really like to visit with you about it, and we were given a chance, and so we'd like to keep moving forward with that, being a part of it, because we are not, Sculpture in the Wild does not want to stop a need or the Lincoln School's success. That's not what we're up against or what we want to do, but we have, and me personally, I've done a lot of thought into how we can be a partner if that would happen, with some of the resources and some of the ideas that we've put forward too. And so during this discussion, after we figure out an MOU, because we have that understanding and because we are here and have been very successful for 12 years, I think that we could help both of us, but especially the school, to move forward in a positive way and successful way with new buildings or new whatever. So I would really, really entertain for me or our executive director to be a part of that conversation.
Sure, and I didn't vote, definitely, I'll probably plan on bringing facilities, updates on a monthly basis, just, formally agendized, probably just primarily just discussions, really just to keep me at it, and finding out, because, getting used to a new state and things like that, but, just what are our needs as far as, projections. I don't necessarily think we need bigger size, but is this facility, no longer deemed adequate, and what would we do?
So, I'm pretty good with most of what we have stated. The only problem that I have, and this is kind of from my experience, is the 5-year term agreement. Because our terms are based on 3-year terms.
Right.
And so, when this one was done, it was on my 2nd year, and I obviously know a lot about it, but as a school board member, it was kind of a surprise. My 2nd year is like, oh shoot, yeah, that, so I think it'd be beneficial for both parties if the term limit got shorter, so board members could be more involved. Because since the last time this agreement came up, we've had board members that have come and gone. And I don't think that benefits the Sculpts in the Park Wild any more than it benefits us. So that's just something I think we should be thinking about, and when as we discuss this, I think that should be a big point, is how much the agreement is, how many year terms we want it to be. I'm not saying it has to be a 1 year, but I think a 5-year over our 3-year terms can leave a lot of overlap and a lot of misunderstandings, which I think right now is something we want to really avoid.
Thank you.
So, and Becky, I'll be reaching out to them as well, because, I liked it, and I appreciate what Billy says, just, we do lose some things, because when I've talked, I've heard everything from we own it, guys, we don't own it, and all the way to, wow, I didn't know that, and things. But with that also is maybe I come up with a draft just out of courtesy, so that the board would approve, that it would be just a courtesy letter to say, we're working on, renewing it. I don't think there's a question of not renewing it, but, please know, it's gonna take us some time to kind of really understand what our realistic needs are, as far as the school and facilities and things like that.
Sounds good. Any other discussion on that?
I assume we're tabling it and doing more discussion later.
Yeah, we'll have approval.
Yeah,
Just
it's,
Right,
discussion.
just-
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a discussion.
I just wanna make sure we're keeping it on the agenda.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So no reason for an executive session? All right. It is 8:27. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Julie has the first. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Failed again.
Billy got it.
I'll give it up if you want it.
I already wrote your name down. Public comment? Public comment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Thank you guys for coming. Good night. Here, I signed everything.
Oh, thank you.
Prior to the meeting, everybody.
I've been meaning to thank you very much for stepping in. We love you.